And when reality is, like, life's kind of in the middle sometimes, right? Sometimes things are really good, sometimes things are really bad, sometimes things are just okay, and that's okay, right?
I once was lost, oh, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Welcome to Built on Faith Homestead. I know it's been a long time since I did a video. Been over a week since we've done any videos. Tomorrow's tiny house talk, we will address that further on why we haven't done any videos and some other things that we need to talk about, especially if you subscribe to this channel. But today we're going to do some work in the garden. I'm way behind. Just was not able to get work done out here the last few weeks like I needed to, and it's gotten out of control. And so today we are starting to take control back of our garden. I know it's winding up the year here, but our tomatoes are looking excellent, and pepper plants are putting on, and our fall garden's starting to come in. So the garden work is not done. But today we want to, I want to talk to you about basing your thoughts, your ideas about doing these types of things and living this kind of lifestyle. I want to talk to you about basing it in reality and how everybody's situation's different. And I just don't want to set you up for failure or perceived failure, or for the idea that everything's going to be perfect all the time. And so I want to show you guys today how crazy our garden looks right now. What it can look like after it's worked up and looking good. That probably won't be in today's video. It'll take me more than a day to get this garden resituated. And we'll show you and just talk about, as we work here today, the reality of living this kind of lifestyle and understanding that everybody's situation's different, and understanding that there needs to be different realistic goals and different realistic ideas about how you are going to live this kind of lifestyle in your current and particular situation. So let's get to work. So here are our tomato plants, and you're seeing lots of red and pink and some more tying up that needs to be done, but they are producing a pretty good amount of tomatoes still right now. And so we got some work to do. Here are our pepper plants. Here's Leah Joe. Hi, Sweet Pea.
I just fell down.
You fell down?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you go play, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So here's our pepper plants here. But as you can notice by this, it's been about 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, since I have been able to really work in the garden, and we'll explain that further in tomorrow's video. But the garden has gotten away from us. Here is our fall turnips. Turnip tops looking pretty good. Not as much weeds because the turnips is drowning them out. But you can look all out through there at how tall the weeds are and the work that needs to be done. There's a bunch of it. We will show you over here. Here's our fall beans. Can't you guys see them down in there anywhere? Here's one of the rows that I've been working on. Actually looks like something down through there. But there were some unexpected things come up, and so we had to kind of throw a halt on the garden, and this is what it looks like when you do that. And I'm not complaining about those things, right? It's just reality. That's just part of living this lifestyle, and things are going to come up and things are going to happen. And I don't want you I don't want to set yourself up for failure. So here's what I mean by that. Not wanting you to be set up for failure. This garden right now, right, it's crazy. It's a mess. Weeds are crazy tall. It needs a lot of work. We're gonna get in and do the work and get it straightened up. But the reason why I keep talking about, like, understand reality for yourself is I don't want you just to watch social media outlets and all these things and watch all these other people, and man, they've got like this perfect manicured garden, and every time you watch their videos, everything looks beautiful and perfect and all of these things, and you get it in your head that, like, you're going to set out and do these things and it's always going to look beautiful and perfect, and then whenever it doesn't, then you're disappointed and you just want to give up. I don't want that for you. I want you to understand your particular situations and understand other people's situations when you're watching their videos and those kinds of things. So tomorrow's video we'll talk more about why I haven't worked in the garden in the last few weeks. But all that you need to know today is I just honestly have not been able to put in the effort in the garden. I had to focus my attention elsewhere. But also living this kind of lifestyle, you have to remember our particular situation. So there's me and my wife, right? And then we have 3 children. And the oldest one of those children is 5. So we have a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. The 5-year-old, my wife homeschools. The 2-year-old likes to sit in with homeschooling, and she's always coloring. It's amazing what she's picking up. Even at 2 years old, she's already counting and all kinds of stuff, sounding out letters and just, you know, picking up all that. But my wife homeschools, and we also try to can and all of those things. Well, I also pastor full time, which means I have to dedicate a lot of time to study and to prayer and to visiting with folks and those kinds of things, which is amazing. Once again, not a complaint. This is my lifestyle, and I am so thankful the Lord has put me in this lifestyle. But the reality of it is, having children that young to where they can come out here, the 5-year-old can help more and actually be a help. But the 2-year-old, right, like she's not going to be able to weed the garden because she can't tell the difference between a bean plant and a grass or a weed, right? And so, and then my wife, she has to be either inside homeschooling or taking care of the 1-year-old or something like that all the time, or canning or working on those kinds of things, which means she's not able to come out and help with these types of things very often. And so, understanding that everybody's situation is different, and the people that you're watching on YouTube that have these perfect, pristine things, right, their situation may be different. They may have older kids that are able to help. They may have they may have people that work for them, right, that either edit their videos or work on their farm for them, or those kinds of things, right, that may be in a different situation, right? Maybe they don't work at all, maybe they don't have any other job, and this is all that they're doing, and they are able to dedicate a whole bunch of time and effort into those kinds of things. Maybe people have loved ones that are sick, and you have to, you know, take care of them, and you're not able to dedicate all of the time that maybe you would need to make everything perfect all the time. And the reason why I say this to you is, especially if, you know, you're a young family and you're trying to start this thing out and you're trying to do this thing, or really at any age, I just don't want you, whenever things aren't perfect, I don't want you just to throw your hands up and be like, that's it, it's not worth it, I'm done doing this, I'm not messing with it. I get there's a time and a place for that, but I don't want you to do that just because it's not like what you see on social media. And I'm especially talking to people my age and younger, because our lives have been so influenced by social media and by what you see, right? I always said, right, like Facebook's been a huge thing for a big chunk of my life now. And like, there's 2 kinds of people on Facebook. There's people that only post perfect stuff all the time, right? Like everything's perfect and their life's grand and nothing bad ever happens, right? And they've married this man that like never makes a mistake and everything's great. Or there's the other side of that coin where all they do is complain, right? And when reality is, like, life's kind of in the middle sometimes, right? Sometimes things are really good, sometimes things are really bad, sometimes things are just okay, and that's okay, right? I don't want you to be discouraged. And people my age and younger especially have been really influenced by these social media platforms. And it has really caused a lot of depression and anxiety in folks, because they're not really, this is going to sound mean, I don't mean for it to sound mean, but you're not really based in reality. You're based on what people are showing you. We had an opportunity to try to find a bunch of restaurants to eat at over the last little while here, last couple of weeks. And I got tickled because we weren't in a place that is in this location. We were a long ways from home, and one of the restaurants we was looking at was a barbecue place, and like they had pictures that they shown on their website that was supposed to be like, if you're showing those pictures, that's the cream of the crop, the prettiest, best looking food you've ever made, right? That's what you're taking pictures of. And it looked terrible, right? I mean, it looked, maybe in the region I was at, they barbecue different than we do down here. And I know barbecue's different all around the world, but man alive, I'm like, that doesn't even look, in their barbecue sauce looked like sweet and sour sauce. It was crazy, right? But seeing that, right, and I was just like, no, I'm out, right? But people typically, right, they put pictures and they put videos up that they want you to see the good parts of things. And I don't want you, once again, to experience some failure like our garden is right now, where the weeds are 10 foot tall and it all needs a bunch of work and it looks terrible. I don't want that to come up in your life, that situation to come up in your life, and you just throw your hands up and be like, I can't do this, right? That's not the right attitude to have. And if you have that type of attitude, this kind of lifestyle hopefully will help you change that type of attitude. You kind of have to have a relentless, never give up and never quit type attitude. But anyhow, we'll show you the weeded plants now. Well, as you guys can see, there are bean plants underneath those weeds. Once again, I like to lay the tall weeds, especially just down in between the rows. It helps keep other weeds from coming up. In fact, most of my weeds were in the rows with the beans, not in between the rows, because I've been doing this all summer long, and so it wasn't so bad. But here is our fall little bean patch here that has come up not too bad. I'll tell you kind of what happened after I planted these beans. When I planted those bean plants, it was it was during a time where it was really dry and dusty and bad weather outside, and we hadn't had rain in a long time. And after I planted them, that night we got a bunch of rain, just a torrential rain, and that powdery dirt had settled, and I had a whole bunch of beans exposed, bean seeds, and so I had to go through and poke a bunch of them back into the dirt, and it made for not the greatest germination rate I've ever had, but it'll work. This, once again, is what we wanted to talk about today. Don't think because you watch all these videos on YouTube that everything that you're going to do is going to look just like theirs, or everything's going to be great, or everything's always going to be, you know, perfect and pristine and beautiful, and you're always going to get as, you know, a crazy amount of plants and all of these things, right? Understand that there are times, even in a place where, if you guys will remember, this is our first spring and summer living here, where we're currently at. There had never been a garden there. It has been work all year. On top of that, with the drought that we have had, and the crazy year that we've had, situations and things are different on everybody. And I make this video just to encourage you. Just do the best that you can. Just do the best that you can. And some years it's going to be good. Some years it's going to be so good that you're tired of messing with it. Other years it's going to be really hard. You're going to have things come up. You're going to have your situations are going to change. You're going to have injuries. Maybe your back goes out, or something happens with your joints, and all of a sudden you can't do as much work as you used to be able to do. And you have to change the way that you do things, or like we said earlier, maybe you have a sick loved one or something like that that you have to take care of, which is biblical. That's something we should do, right? We should do those things. And we should not look at then our other things that we're doing, such as like homesteady type gardening, animals, whatever, and think, well, I'm just a giant failure now. Because that's not the case. Also though, I don't want you to watch this video and start to make excuses for laziness. Get up and get to work. How are you really prioritizing your time? What are you actually doing with that time? All of those things. But also understand that, man, it's not going to be perfect all the time. There's going to be issues. There's going to be troubles. There's going to be things come up that there's going to be things come up that will make other things get away from you, right? You'll get behind on things. It is what it is, but it's nothing necessarily that you might even be doing wrong. It's just life. It's just life, and life's tough, and life's hard, and sometimes you have to just dig your heels in and get to work. Guys, I appreciate you guys. Sorry it's been a while since we made a video. If you want to know how come, please watch our tiny house talk tomorrow, and we'll catch you guys next time.